Alright guys, it's me, it's LOZA. I'm really excited to watch this one. This is Dale's Dark Magician deck in which he went so well. He came 7th out of 120 person regional, which is absolutely insane for Dark Magician. I'm not sure where Dale's from. I'm sure I've said this enough times now, but I am in a group chat with Dale and Michael and Matt and all the Dark Magician guys, and we do discuss our ideas a lot, and I'm just so excited that everyone's doing well. I'm not yet, but that's okay. It's great that everyone else is. I'm just going to try and top my locals to start, and then I'm not sure how many tournaments, like serious tournaments, I'll be able to get to this year. It's looking like not many. I will just try to give you my best insight into how to maximize your success with the deck. Speaking of that, let's let Dale take it away since he has had some fat success. Let's go!
Starting off with the list. So we start off with 2 Dark Magicians, 1 Red Eyes, and 1 Dark Magician Girl. We were flexing a little bit here. This was the only set that I owned that are all the same and that I like. So yeah, I went with this set.
They look good.
Then Magician Souls, what more needs to be said? If you're playing less than 2, you're doing something wrong. I don't mean that in a bad way. Unless you don't own a third, you really need to get free of this. And then another change for my normal summons was triple Magician's Rod, and double Diviner. This card is the in nuts. So good. Why is it so good? Going first, it gives you to Illusion of Chaos. If you've already got Illusion of Chaos, it gives you to Soravus. Other than that, unless they destroy it, this is a 1-card Verte, because you go this, Illusion of Chaos, get Verte, get Souls summons, then use Souls and Herald Verte Goon.
What's interesting is when I played Diviner, like, I played 3, but that's because I was like, oh, look, guys, Diviner, like, and I was trying to show everyone, like, how cool it can be. But I actually think this is a better lineup. I think 3 Rod, 2 Diviner is probably better. I was playing, like, 3 Diviner, 1 Rod, or sometimes 2 Rod, but I do think this is a better lineup. And the main reason for that is, coming back to that ratio we spoke about last video, playing a card at 5 or playing a normal summon at 5 means you ensure the best probability that you see 1 in your opening hand, but not more than 1. So that is actually really nice for Dale to be playing the 5. You could say Red Eyes Fusion falls into a normal summon category too, because you can't with it, but well, look, it's still a spell. You can always send it with Magician Soul, so I like this. I actually think this is a very nice ratio up for normals. The only other ratio I would play for normal summons in this deck is 4, so like 3 and 1. So I'd go like either 2 Rod, 2 Diviner, or 3 Rod, 1 Diviner, or 3 Diviner, 1 Rod, you know? Just any ratio like that is pretty good. At least it ensures you can never open up all 5 of them, right? So that's pretty good if you just play 4. But yeah, as we said earlier, 5 is the correct ratio if you want to see 1 of a card in your opening hand.
Off the back of that as well, going second, if you open up Illusion of Chaos or you already open up Magician Souls, this card then becomes a bait out. And what I mean by that is you activate the effect, and if your opponent's like, oh, he's clearly going to go for a Herald Search, you send the Tis, then the Tis then becomes a pop for a Blackout, which is this is the only card on your board they can't blackout you because they need to pop 2 cards, or it becomes a pop out for a Yugioh or a Baron or anything like that. So good. I like highly value this card, it's unreal. And then for the rituals, we've got 2 Illusion of Chaos and the 1 Soravus. This put in so much work today, it was unreal. The fact that you can protect your monster from being targeted with Blackout is amazing. The fact you protect from Imperm, amazing. So you get to this, so if you've already opened up Illusion of Chaos or you already opened up Souls, this gets you Soravus. It means as soon as you go into Verte, they try to Imperm, you just go Soravus. It's so goddamn good. So massive shout out to LOZA, who I first saw put in his profile. I was like, yo, you're on something. 2 Illusion of Chaos is all you need.
That's me! That's epic. How pretty is this Soravus though? See, I don't have a Secret Rare, that's so hot. And Secret Rare Souls, I need to get Secret Rare Souls, they look so nice.
I didn't see it as much as I maybe would have liked to, but once you see the first one, as long as you're not putting it back to the top of the deck, it means every single turn you are getting either a starter or you're getting a free summon. So it was all I really needed. It worked out perfectly for me.
And that's the other cool thing with Illusion of Chaos. Once you, like, get it, as Dale said, like, you kind of want to keep it. Like, you hopefully shuffle back something, or top deck, sorry, something else, and keep it, and then next turn you can just use it again. Like, it's so good. Like, some people are like, oh, you didn't put it back? I'm like, why would I? I had Red Eyes in my like, I had, like, some useless card, you know?
Rounding up the monsters, we've got 1 Apprentice Illusion. This actually put in a lot of work again for me today. More so, what makes it really good is the fact that it can be a hand trap. So if your opponent goes, all right, you know what? I'm going to drop it to a Dragoon, and then I'm going to attack the Dragoon. You go, fine, because they're trying to beat over it at, like, 1500. You drop this, you make it at 3500. It's unreal. It wins you games on that, and if they try to get rid of your Winder, you drop this into a Winder, and it becomes a boss of 4200. 1 Ice Dragon.
Dale is playing the Schism Nadir package, and, like, totally fair. Apprentice in that is really funny.
I actually, before I even started this, was considering cutting Ice Dragon completely, and I'm so glad I didn't. This actually put in a lot of work. So against the Eldritch matchup, I had to burn through his back row so much. So he had Lord revealed, in I think this was like game 2, he had Ecclesia, he had Punishment, he had Aquero, he had everything. I burnt through my entire hand. The last thing I had left was Magician Souls on board, and Dark Magician and a Droplet in hand. I sent the Magician Soul, summoned down the Dragon, activated the Dragon to fuse with the Dark Magician hand to get into a Dragoon. Used Dragoon's 1 effect, and my opponent had already played Judgment because I opened up Evening Matched, to pop the Ecclesia. By doing that, because Dragoon was the only card on my board, he couldn't Punishment it, and because he was 2800, it would have been very, very rare for my opponent to have a monster in his extra deck that would have given him enough advantage to pop it and get rid of it. It went Dragoon, cleared Ecclesia, and then from that point on, because I burnt through his back row so much, he only had like 2 cards left with 2,500 life points, and that's where the Droplet held in hand with Goon was going to win it from there.
It is an interesting card, Tomias. Like, It's good in so many like niche situations, but I don't know if I can justify playing it. But I think playing it at one, like if you are gonna play it, it's a one or none, guys. It's a one or none. Same with Secrets, one or none, guys.
Dogmatica's of Ecclesia and Fleur de Lis.
Very
I
nice.
never summoned Ecclesia today at all. I still wouldn't take her out. She's still very, very good. But I'll show you when I side cards out how you minimize this engine and how you use Fleur as a free discard fodder. It was absolutely crazy. Put in a lot of work. I'm telling you, the combo you get, just like a 2-card combo of Red Eyes Fusion plus Nadir Servant, is a Wind Up plus Dragoon. It's mad. And some people just can't play for it. So good.
And people still won't play their ref at 3. Can't play Nadir at 3 anymore because Konami said no, but that's fine. Play Nadir at 2. So for those who are unaware, Fleur de Lis is like always an extender, and Ecclesia by extension as well, because Rod and Souls are super searchable now, and if you summon either one of them, you can link them into Artemis, and then voila, you have met the criteria to summon these for free. And don't think you have to use Ecclesia's search. You can just summon her without the search, and then you're not locked out of the extra deck. So essentially, Rod and Ecclesia can get you to Anaconda, or Rod and Ecclesia can get you to Artemis, Ecclesia, and like Searching Punishment and or Fleur. Like, it's up to you. So like, there's just the Dogmatika package. I still love it, guys. Like, I'm not playing it anymore, but I'm not saying it's bad at all. I just didn't like Schism last format. But look, Dale's making it work, and as he said, if you get Dragoon out with Schism, Winder, like, what do people do? They just lose.
Plus Nadir Servant is a Wind Up plus Dragoon in tits. Triple Soul Servant. So good. You have no idea how many times I was like, do I want the exact of this? Do I want to stack something specifically, or do I want to send it off of Souls? And I actually sent it off of Souls a lot of times rather than it. I was like, I'm going to send this because I want the random draw. Like, the random draw could be the card I stack, or it could be one of my power play cards. And by sending this to the graveyard, that one draw was great.
I said this ages ago, and like some old school Dark Magician players didn't approve. But sometimes that random draw is just better than searching a Dark Magician piece. Like, sorry, Circle Eternal Soul is only so good. Sometimes I'd rather just draw 2 random cards and it's like 2 hand traps, and then you're like, great, this is way better than 1 banish. It's risky, that's the problem. It's like RNG, but you know, who doesn't like to draw 2 random cards? It's super fun. I think that's the other problem with Soul Servant. You normally have to use it to stack one of the cards that you know you're going to draw and then 1 random card. It's nowhere near as fun. I wish like Soul Servant, like how when the Dark Magicians is up, Soul Servant like draws you the card immediately. I wish it was just like that in general, but that'll be pretty broken.
And then whatever that was, I could then banish it from the graveyard because I would have already used it with Souls to then get an additional draw. So at that point, if I'm digging for a starter, whether it be Rod, whether it be for Diviner, I've got 2 chances to get to it.
It just feels so good sending Souls off Magician Souls. Sorry, I'll be specific. Sending Soul Servant off Magician Souls to draw, and then banishing Soul Servant and drawing more. Oh, it feels so good. Your hand is just filling back up, and you're like, yo, this is Pog.
And it worked out like a treat. Again, this one goes out to a massive shout out to the Dark Magician community. I was only ever playing 1 Red Eyes Fusion. I bumped this to 2, and holy crap, it's so much better. And a lot of people might be like, well, what are you talking about? Well, there was a couple of times I opened this, I was like, if I only opened 1, this would have been completely dead. I couldn't do anything with it. There was a couple of times where I put it back into the deck, where I used it as fodder for Souls, or there were times I was like, well, if my opponent doesn't have an Ash, and I would try and bait my opponent out with Ashes, with Soul Servants, with Illusion of Chaoses, and then activate Red Eyes Fusion, and then they're like, oh crap, I'm locked under a Dragoon. And they could have, like, again, so much work from this card. It was unreal. So I can't complain about 2 now. I really can't. If I see both in a hand, I'll probably cry a little bit. Didn't happen, and yeah, at 2 was unreal. Double Droplet again, a last minute edition. So I was originally playing Chalice, but my god, this card is so good. I mean, again, it didn't really, it didn't, for me, it didn't do anything that a Chalice wouldn't already do. But there were so many times when I had this and I was able to set this, and if my opponent Dark Ruled me, I was still able to half damage and survive or anything. So if you definitely don't have these, Chalice is your next best alternative, and I definitely advise doing it.
It's actually so good. Like, I tell everyone to play Chalice just because it's cheap, but if you can afford Droplet, guys, or if you have Droplet, please play them instead. Your most powerful board going second sometimes, or play going second, is just activate Ref, they chain and negate with one of their monsters, you chain Droplet. Like, that wins a lot of games. People ask me, how does it win games? Guys, Dragoon has 3k, and you go pop, pop, and then you swing, or you negate something and swing, and you're on 4k or 3k. Like, Dragoon is a very good OTK card, I'm not gonna lie. It's a bit situational, but the rest of the card is good all the time, so it's just never bad.
2 Dark Magical Circle. Now again, a lot of people are like, well, what the hell, you only need to play 1. The thing is, with 2, this is like one of the easiest sides out in my entire life. But what was so good about this is the fact that I had Soul Servant, is like, if I've already opened up this, I can just rod into this, use this to stack the field cell, get it, and then I get to see the remaining 2 cards on the top of my deck. So if I've already got Souls on board, if I don't want this, I Souls it, get rid of it, draw the cards I get into, which are my power cards of Droplets, or they're the power cards of the Dear Servant. So yeah, and like literally the Sword Soul matchup, because this revealed a Droplet, I was able to put the Droplet to the top for the draw. So I mean, I wouldn't play less than 2, in my opinion. I always sided 1 out and relied on it less, but it was so good. Like, and in the Eldritch matchup, when you get full combo, when you get this, Eternal Soul, Schism, and then Dragoon, It's like, bro, I'm banishing a card, I'm letting you only have one special summon a turn, and Ascend if you put a Dark on the board, and my Dragoon's going to negate anything that could possibly be fretful to me.
Yeah, look, Circle is good with other stuff. By itself is when it's the problem. And I don't mind people playing it at 2. You guys will know I like to play 1, and I like to play 1 Eternal Soul. But I always say to people, at least cut down to 2, because cutting down to 2, it just means like when you do use your rod, you actually have things to search. And that just feels good. Because some people are like, oh yeah, you want to open Circle, Eternal Soul, and Soul Servant, and like, okay, but then at that point, like, normal summon rod, what do you grab? And I mean, this is where they say, oh, secrets, dark magic attack, dark magic veil, 1,000... I know you can't. I'm just messing around, but like, yeah. 2 Circle is good. 2 Circle is good.
Last time I got is 1 Salvation. Never used its second effect. It could have come up once, but I just used it as send fodder. So good. Nadir Servant, it's a 1-card power play. The best thing about this is a lot of people are like, well, it looks like extra. Yes, but it's like one of the last cards you want to play. Like, if I activate Red Eye Fusion, I can still activate this card. I send App Cologne, great. If I've burnt through everything, my opponent only has 1 card left, I activate this, send Natis, search out Fleur-de-Lis, so that if they put a monster on the extra deck, I get 2,500 beater. I do full combo, Verte. Still get to this because I'm banishing Soul Servant to draw 2. I get to this, I activate it. This is basically a pseudo window. Like, the way you need to see this is a 1-card window, and it's a window that you can control. So if your opponent wants to protect the first card they play, and if they're worried about Dragoon and they've opened up Droplets, if they play a card and they're like, I really can't afford for this to be negated, you go Dragoon. You then force them to activate their Droplet, and that's when you can go, cool, do your thing, activate Schism, summon that window, and they're like, right, I'm now locked under that.
Dale's making me want to play Dogmatika engine again. Not gonna lie. Don't make me go back. Oh, I wanted to stop playing it because Nadir's at 2, and also because, I don't know, I wanted to just like test Pure and really get the ratios of Pure right, because Illusion of Chaos is so good and Timaeus is so weird, and I don't know, maybe I do need to revisit the Dogmatika, because maybe I'm wrong in dropping it so early. It is a nice consistency boost to the deck to have like another 1-card engine. Like Ref is a 1-card engine and Nadir is a 1-card starter. I should say 1-card starter. They're 1-card starters and they do a really good job. Like, obviously they can be Ash, Nadir can be Ghost Belled as well, but the value they give you is just insane. Like, Nadir by itself, as Dale said, is just a Schism window, but it can also be a Dogmatika Punishment, a Fleur-de-Lis, and a Ecclesia. So, like, you have options. You have so many options. And, of course, we mentioned earlier, opening the Dogmatika cards is always fine because they're not bricks. They can summon themselves for free, and their summoning condition is just, yo, have extra deck monsters out, bro. Like, who doesn't have that? The only time that's bad is when you verse Eldritch or like Flunder where there might not be extra deck. But even then, you should be fine. You can just link Rod or Souls into Artemis, and then you can go from there.
So the only way they beat it is they have to hold their Droplet back, and they're then waiting on you to activate the Schism. So unless they put you in a position where you have to play Schism, there's no other way around it, you're still good to go. Double prep, love this.
So yeah, we can't really talk about 2 prep here in a negative way, because you'll notice he's playing Diviner, which searches Illusion of Chaos, which means he doesn't really need prep to search Illusion of Chaos so much. Prep's mainly here for Serabus, or if he doesn't happen to open Diviner. So yeah, there's no reason to roast him for the 2 prep guys. It's actually very, very valid here. If he wasn't playing Diviner, I'd say, you know, bump it up to 3. But once again, it's a spell. It can be sent from Magician Souls to draw, and the card literally searches a card that searches Magician Souls. So it's a very valid card to be playing at 2 to 3. And yeah, Nadir, I was going to say something about Nadir at 2, but that's literally the ban list put it to 2. So depressing, to be honest, but it is what it is. But you see a lot of 2-obs here, but they're actually a very well thought out and structured list of 2-obs. Normally when you see 2-obs, it's just people who are like, I didn't know what hand traps to play, so I played 2 of them all. But Dale's actually labbed this out. Like, he's discussed it with us a little bit. He's definitely gone out of his way and tested this with probably his locals group, I'm going to assume, and before they've gone to the tournament, they've added some spice. Because we're going to see it in the extra deck soon, and it's pretty good. I'm keen.
This card. Again, wouldn't put it at 3. I think 2 for me has been perfect. Maybe at a different day, I might want to bump it to 3, but 2 has been godly. Like,
I don't think
the amount of times I've seen this and then gone activate it, and then this is either going to be a Serabus if I want to protect my... Because in theory, if I use this and get Serabus and I've opened up a Diviner, I can protect my Diviner from Blackout, from Imperm, for everything, and that's then ultimately going to lead me to an Illusion of Chaos. If you already open up Illusion of Chaos, you go Serabus. If you already open up Serabus, then you just go Illusion. And like I said, Serabus puts in so much work. Striker package, again, this is a 1-card power play. You bait out...
Oh, sweet. I was going to say this before. Prep also sets up for your engaged to drew an extra draw, plus, you know, Prep's grabbing new extenders if the Striker engine gets negated, which is just once again insane. Like, another reason why Upstart's so good as well. It's good in DM naturally. It's good for the Striker engine. Yeah, you don't have to play your whole deck just to make the Striker engine good, but it's nice when everything can complement something else in the deck, you know? Or can complement the general theme of the deck. And I think a lot of people miss that with the Striker engine. They don't really understand how well it synergizes with Dark Magician. But anyway.
So much with this, and the best thing is if your opponent doesn't know what you're playing, you activate engage, their brain subconsciously already switches and goes, oh crap, I've got to deal with strikers, so their play strategy changes. So then when you're going drones, and then you go drones into Kagari add back drones, Kagari into Kana, activate drones, gain 100 life points, they're already like, What? And the best thing is, in the Eldritch matchup under Tikaboo, unreal. Warrior, machine. The only thing you can't do is get into Kana. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky. But then all you need to do is normal summon Rod, that's a spellcaster. Sure. Link 2 into Verte, it's a plant. Let's go. Dragoon. Like, so good.
So Dale just mentioned like how you can bait your opponent into thinking you're playing something else if you open your turn game 1 against, you know, a new opponent at like round 3 of an Oceanic or a regional, whatever you're attending. Yeah, you can trick your opponent into thinking you're playing something else. And that's why Diviner's so good. You'll notice he's playing Diviner. You see normal Diviner, what's the first thing that pops in your head? It's not fucking Dark Magician, is it? The first thing that pops in your head is probably Drytron, right? So yeah, the other thing, Strike Range, and you start your turn with an Engage. Are people going to want to Ash that? Hell yeah, they're going to go, this is at 1. This card's at 1. He's playing Striker. I have to Ash this. Ash. Or they might go, oh, I'll save it when he adds it back and then Ash then. They may do that as well, but there's a pretty good chance they're going to Ash it outright there. Not to mention you just shifted their whole mindset into Striker. Now, you'll notice this happened a lot with Michael's decklist. Michael's decklist running the Gearsu package as well as the Red Eyes package, the little black metal package. He's got so many cards in there that trick his opponent essentially, right? The black metal package makes people think, oh, he's playing Dragon Link or Red Eyes, when in fact, it's Dark Magician. And the Gearsu package makes people think, oh, he's playing Orcust. Well, it's Gearsu, it's their best card, I need to Ash this. I need to hand trap this, you know? It's all about mind games with your opponent, and, oh, I forgot to mention, Ryan was also playing the Gearsu package, so, and the Striker package too, so, like, guys, we just have so many packages in this deck now that we can play, and some people seem to hate that, but they don't seem to understand because they're like, oh, I want to play pure Dark Magician. They don't seem to understand when you go to a tournament, no one cares about that shit, right? We're there to win. We're there to trick our opponent. Any mind games you can pull off is absolutely necessary. Shoutouts to the Dark Magician fan for playing all these wacky new techs and cool little distractions in the deck that either get you to Dragoon or bait and negate. Like, that is exactly what we need to do.
Star Magical Ice Fusion. The amount of times, like, one of my opponents said to me, if you bring out a second Starlight Dragoon, that's it, I'm done. I've used this a couple of times. There's so many times that the opponent worries about getting rid of Dragoon that they'll Droplet to attack and get rid of Dragoon, leave you a Verte, and you go, Verte, send Magical Ice Fusion, gives you another Dragoon, and you go from there. So, do you mind? So, clearly not. But yeah, Magical Ice Fusion.
Dog is a Chad.
Again, last minute, I was like, do I put Secrets of Dark Magic in here? And I can't say if it would have worked or not. There probably wasn't really a time that it came up. The only time that I'd want it to come up is when you need to search a fusion spell off of your Rod. But it's, again, and when you see the extra deck, you'll understand. It's very rare.
This is such a nice map, by the way. I'm just looking at the buckles on this man's, like, outfit. This is such a sick card, guys.
That right now we only have one spellcaster on the board. That might change when, like, if Gotogo becomes more prominent or Gamma becomes more prominent, but ultimately right now it doesn't. Triple Gozo match, auto win against Sword Soul, auto win against the Brave players if they put the Brave in and they...
I missed this completely. Like, I haven't talked about this at all, this format, and I think that's really bad of me. Gozen and Rivalry, they kind of just auto-win you any Brave deck, but they have to play multiple things because the token is a Earth Fairy, I believe, and the Griffin is, of course, a Wing Beast win. So that's already very, very different. So you can already see how Gozen and Rivalry would just turn off the Brave engine immediately. Now, of course, they could still play the rest of their deck out if they're playing, like, Phantom Knights, for example, because all of them are Dark, and all of them are Warriors. I believe they're Warriors, right? I think. So it doesn't auto-win you the game, right? But it does turn off the Brave engine, at least. Against Prank Kids, though, it does win you the game, because then they're locked into, only one thing. So it's actually very good against the Prank Kid Brave variant. It is an auto-win.
Can't get to the equip. 9 out of 10, they probably will. Lich goes straight out. Eldritch Invoked is interesting, because as soon as they put, like, if they put Alistair on the board, you goes and lock them, they can't get rid of it. Unless they're playing Kaliga. And if they put Purgatrio on the board, not Purgatrio, sorry, Amaraj on the board, goes and lock them out. Really, really good, put in a lot of work. Punishment, never saw it. If you cut the Ecclesia, this is a card that gets sided out. So if you cut Ecclesia, you can cut this completely. But it's still always nice, because if you do get to it, it is a very nice two-card disruption. One Eternal Soul, one Schism, all straightforward and sensible on that one. Very, very good. Schism, keep in mind, guys, is actually incredibly powerful because it forces your opponent's DPE. So if your opponent goes DPE because they know you've got this, you activate this, you bring out a Windar, and that's going to send. Now, you might be like, well, Dale, how the hell do they know you already have this? Like, if this is already face up. Well, guys, shocker, I played 2 Windar in the extra deck. I know it's going to make you guys go, what? That's the exact same reaction I got from my opponent when they thought this was just a dead card and they didn't have to worry about anything. And I just go, okay, this will be interesting. They go DPE, and I go, this will be interesting. Chain Schism. They're like, what? It's like, yeah, you killed my Windar. I've got a Windar in the grave. I've got a load of Dark in the grave. Why not make a Windar? And the Windar was the last-minute introduction that I used in place of one of the Old Faithful of Artemis. And I'll explain that.
I disagree with cutting Artemis, because especially when you're playing Dogmatika, like Rod normal, and then if you open Nadir and whatnot, you really need to get that Artemis out so you can do Nadir stuff, and then set up the Schism play, for example. So yeah, that is a weird one to me. I guess necessarily you don't need to summon Ecclesia to get the Schism play live, I guess. But I find it to be nice. It also puts your Rotting Grave, which you kind of need for Schism. I think Schism can fuse from field, though.
So, Double Dragoon, Mac Daddy, please, Konami, I pray to the Konami gods, do not touch this card. Leave this card alone, all right? I know if you're going to ban Verte, sure, it makes it a little bit difficult. Leave him alone, please. He wins me games. He won me the games. It is, like,
Please.
I think the only time I won without this is I won a game with Dark Magician Girl, and I won a game with 2 Dark Magicians. So with the Dark Magician Girl,
Please, Konami, do not ban my man Dragoon. We need it so bad. Our deck is so bad without it. Please keep Dragoon.
Magicians never summoned it the entire game. I would still keep it in there. There's no way I'm dropping it. Definitely in here. Double win.
He never summoned it, though. He never summoned it. He definitely summoned Winder and Double Winder, but he didn't summon the Dark Magicians once. What does that say about the Dark Magicians, guys? What does it say about them? Yeah, they're a little bit awkward to summon. I know he's not playing Secrets, which is probably the main reason. And Tamias could probably summon... Oh, it can. Doesn't necessarily have to, but it can.
Winder. That's right. Last minute edition, I put in a second window
Winder.
over, a little spoiler here, over
Works so
the Link 1
well.
Artemis. And the reason I took the Link 1 Artemis out is I was like, hang on a minute, when would we actually ever need it? The only time I'm ever going to need it is if I don't get a way to get 2 monsters on the board, or one of my monsters is destroyed. I then need to turn Souls into Artemis, which means I'm putting a weaker monster on the board, and then special summon down Ecclesia. So I was
I mean, that's not why you use it, you know? Link... Why don't... Everyone seems to mention making it off Souls. It is to recycle Rod and get Rod engraved for when you open up a lot of traps, or like a hand that doesn't really do anything, or like lots of hand traps, for example, and you don't have engine besides Rod, or if Rod gets like ashed or something. But yeah, the main reason for playing Artemis is obviously when you don't have a way to 2 monsters, and somehow Dale just always opened a way to 2, so kudos to him for doing that. But I do feel like Rod and Artemis are there, like Artemis is in the extra deck, for when you don't have an ideal hand. And some people are like, oh, I'm already losing that game anyway. And like, sure, fair enough. But sometimes in Yu-Gi-Oh! You just need to survive. Sometimes your opponent's bricked harder than you. Sometimes they don't have a response to like your hand traps or whatever traps you've drawn with your Rod. So sometimes it's about just getting back to that turn 3, you know, after you've passed turn. And Artemis can very much help with that. Plus, it just seems like a no-brainer with the Dogmatika engine. Like, it's how you summon out Ecclesia and stuff for free. But sure, like, that's what I don't get. Like, if his hand was Ecclesia Rod and no other monsters to summon, he could just, you know, link Rod into Artemis, summon Ecclesia, and then make Anaconda from there if you don't use Ecclesias on field effects. So that is definitely a strange take, but clearly the double window works, so kudos to Dale for that. I probably would have just cut the Dark Magicians for Artemis, but anyway.
we are with Illusion of Chaos, we are consistently getting 2 monsters. Whether that be Diviner
Like,
with
yeah.
Souls, whether that be Rod with Souls.
Maybe I just play like in a really hand trap heavy locals, but man, I get hand trapped on like half my shit. Also, all my locals watch my freaking deck profiles on YouTube, so they know how to beat my damn deck. Doesn't help.
Whether that be Apprentice Illusion with another card. We are always trying to get to Verte. It is a very last chance saloon that we ever actually consider or attempt that we're only going to end on 1 monster. And when that happens, I'd rather end on a Rod at 1600 than an Artemis on 1000 if I don't have Ecclesia. So I put in a second window, and my god, this put work in. Because
I mean, that's still not the argument. It's not about finishing board on a fucking 1600 attack monster versus an 800. It's about Artemis being able to be tributed to put Rod back in your hand if you just had like Soul Servant and Rod, for example, and like just hand traps. That's what it's about. Because what does Soul Servant do turn 1? Nothing. You normal Rod, you get hand trapped, you set Soul Servant and pass. And then, oh sorry, link Rod into Artemis, set Soul Servant, pass. And then your opponent does shit and you can flip Soul Servant, tribute Artemis, add Rod back. Like, that's pretty stock standard just to kind of ensure you can play next turn. Now, some people say, oh, the game's just over, but whatever.
Number 1, your opponent does not expect you to play a second window.
That's
Number
very
2, when
true.
they clear this off, if they clear the Schism first, this is just going to add it back. If they don't, they've put a Shadow in your graveyard, ready for you to activate it and go from there. Keep in mind as well, the card can't attack while Schism is face up on the board. So, when you summon it and Schism then goes, cool, excellent, send a card, you Souls and get rid of the Schism, you're then free to attack. So,
I have messaged Dale and said, this is not true. This is not true at all. If Schism leaves the field, all the monsters summoned off the Schism still remember they cannot attack directly. So that's not like a Schism tied to the fusion thing. That's just a, you cheated this fusion out, it can't attack directly kind of thing. So the monster definitely remembers. Though I do believe if it gets flipped down and up, it doesn't remember. Similar to the Zeke, Sky Striker Zeke interaction with Dragoon. Haha, epic.
so good, it worked a treat. Yeah, App Cologne, like I said, the DS7 is a pseudo window. Won the TIS, put in so much work.
You
Never came off of
discard
punishment, always came off of Diviner. And everyone, like, no one expects it. They're like, oh, it's a search. What's the worst can do? You bring out in the TIS, and straight away, because you've done that, it then means your opponent has to either have the one-off Call by the Grave, or they need to burn the Baron. And it's like, well, if they burn the Baron, the whole idea of you doing that is that you've already got Souls in the hand. You've already got your route to Verte. So, Herald of Arclight, the other card you send off of Diviner, 1 Link Spider. Again, I've gone with Link Spider over Umduct for the pure fact that now I can't turn the Sky Striker token into Umduct. It has to go into Link Spider. So in this particular version, Link Spider is superior to Umduct. I know, timestamp it, record it, do whatever you need to. In this particular build, Link Spider is more superior. Okay.
That's very fair because if you notice, Dale is playing 2 Winder and you have to play Alkalone, and he needs to have a Dogmatika punishment target, which is Elder Entity, and he's got Herald. It can only be sent off Diviner. People who think you can Nadir Herald, you cannot. It doesn't work, trust me. So yeah, Link Spider makes sense because you do need to use it for the Striker package, and it's just good in Dark Magician anyway for recycling DM. But the sad thing here, which I don't think he has room, like I said it earlier, I would have cut the Dark Magicians for Artemis, so I don't even think there's room for Imduck here. Because Imduck, the reason why I'm just stressing about Imduck being in here is because if you open Magician Souls and Magicalized Fusion, you can make that Dragoon using the Imduck, and it's just a 2-card Dragoon, which is really nice. And if you have the normal summon there, you can even go further than that, make double Dragoon and shit, and it's so freaking cool. But hey, at the end of the day, it's not too important, and it's very niche. But I do like that play with Imduck, and Imduck's a pretty good boy. But I can understand like not needing it here.
You know, Kagari, so great, especially with a format with strikers running around. Like, your opponent worries so much when you start the striker play. They say, I'm going to do all of that, and then if I have all from one card, and if you stop all of that, I've still got Diviner, and Diviner's going to come down and go, all right, cool, bro, let's go. And going to give me the same Verte combo anyway. So they go 1 Verte. I did consider, rather than the second window, have a second Verte. I kind of ultimately went with the second window because I was like, I mean, a lot of people keep this on board, so I'm not really too fussed about it.
I would have played another Verte, but once again, extra deck tight as fuck. That's the other reason I wanted to stop playing Dogmatika. I hated how much it restricted my extra deck, but I don't know. 2 Verte has always done me justice, and I can't see myself not playing 2 ever. But hey, different strokes for different blokes.
Start the Dark Charmer. I can see why this is so good, because you bait out the DPE, you make this, use this to bring back the DPE, you have your own. And then you can link it off into Celine if you want to, and then Celine's going to lean into Access Code. I made this once today, and it's basically this with Goon for game, and I think it's in my first game, just to get the 8k out and done. So ultimately, these cards I never used at all today. These 3 cards I never used. But you want them in here because it is it's like a 2-card route to give you a full OTK and board clear. So yeah, I wouldn't cut anything. It's difficult
even though he didn't even use the Access Code thing besides that very first game, it's still just so good to go into for follow-up. But he probably just won so much with Schism Dragoon, right? Like, not many decks can deal with that. It's like an Omni Negate and a Floodgate monster that's just so strong. And if he had Circle Eternal Soul, well, of course, they weren't doing shit. So, congrats to Dale. This is an amazing video. I'm going to have the link in the description. You guys should go check it out. Drop him a comment. Congratulate him. He's a really cool guy. And I'm going to have, once again, like last video, I'm going to have all the boys' Dark Magician links in the description if you're keen on that. So please do yourself a favor. If you want to get good at Dark Magician, don't just follow me. Go and follow these guys as well. Anyway, thank you once again, guys, for watching. Big love to you all. Have yourself a beautiful night, and I will catch you soon.